hidden markets are markets that we're playing in all the time. As we go around the world, we are participating in hidden markets. We don't always think of them as markets. So, as an economist, uh, I I think most economists, most people who have taken an econ class, think about markets as having prices that determine who gets what. So if you've ever heard an economist say supply equals demand, that's an assertion that price is going to be the thing that decides who gets what in a market. And what a hidden market is a market where price does not do that. There might be a price, like for live event tickets to see Taylor Swift perform, say, or to go to the theater and see Hamilton. You're going to pay a price for that ticket, but that is not what is determining who gets to go and who doesn't. There's some other set of rules, maybe first come, first serve on the Ticketmaster website. Whoever clicks to buy that ticket gets it, because in these cases, in basically all hidden markets, there are more people who want the thing than there are kind of things available for them to have at the price that they're being sold at. And then some markets don't have prices at all. So, when you try to get your kid into a good elementary school, right, in public elementary school, you're not going to pay anything, but there is going to be competition for those slots. And same with the best library books or a life-saving organ transplant. Like, you're not going to be able to pay more to get access to that scarce resource. And so from the academic side, it was these situations that really interested me because it was not so cut and dry. There wasn't, when the price changes to equalize supply and demand, things are kind of, we understand what's going to happen in that market. Economists have a good sense of that. So I got into this doing research with Al on organ allocation, on how we allocated organs to people who needed them. And this is a kind of the first hidden market that I started analyzing as a researcher, that we have people waiting for years for life-saving, say, kidney transplant. And we have folks who pass away who agree to donate their organs to folks who need them. And there's a process by which we kind of match kidneys to potential recipients. And so in a bunch of research, we thought about, okay, how could we can't pay people to donate their organs. Maybe we could change the way they're allocated. Maybe we could redesign the hidden market to get people to donate more often. And we did a bunch of work on, what if we gave priority on those waiting lists, the folks who are waiting for the organ? What if you were more likely to get one when you need one if you had agreed to be a donor when you were young and healthy, before you knew that you would need an organ? You said, you know what, I would give my organs if I died in a way that allowed me to do so. And so that was a bunch of work that we did showing, how effective that would be, and seeing its effectiveness when it was implemented in Israel around about a decade ago. And so that got me into it. And then I started to see these hidden markets everywhere. So I got to Wharton, and the students were complaining about how their courses got allocated. They wanted to get schedules of classes that they liked, and we weren't making them pay to get better, more popular classes. Everybody had an equal, should have equal rights to seats in the Wharton courses. And so we needed to redesign the mechanism there. So those were my kind of research experiences. And then, okay, so it could just be academic studies. Why write a book? But I was in an elementary school auditorium listening to, this was when my son was going to be going to kindergarten. And I was kind of going around to different schools to kind of see, all right, where do we want him to enroll? This is in New York City. And I'm in an elementary school auditorium, and the person who works for the school district is explaining the mechanism that allocates kids to seats based on parent preferences and kind of priorities within the school system. And she's explaining this mechanism, and parents are like frantically taking notes. And I'm looking around, and they're very stressed. It's very clear that this is tough for them. And I am not stressed, because I know that the mechanism that the school district is using is one that was designed in part by my advisor, Al. And I know that it's not complicated to be a market participant in it. You just rank your preferences for schools from your favorite to your least favorite. It's like the easiest thing to do, as hidden markets go. And I realized like, wow, these folks are stressed out. They do not feel empowered in this market. What Why don't we have a way of kind of explaining to them, hey, this in this market, this is what you should do. Here's how to think about it. Um, and not just for elementary school admissions, but in all of the markets that they play in. As an economist, I understand them and can kind of navigate through them and have a set of skills to do that. And so the book is my kind of attempt to empower other people to feel similarly. I started thinking about, what are the markets that people play in on a regular basis that help kind of crystallize some of these concepts that I think folks should know and feel empowered by. One is getting restaurant reservations at hot restaurants. So, in the book, I tell a story about trying to get my wife a reservation at the French Laundry for her 40th birthday. It's kind of an expensive meal, so it was a milestone birthday. You have to wait for the 50th to get another chance at it. Um, but what the way that that market works is that it's a first come first serve race. So they release all of the reservations. This is true of a lot of popular restaurants. All the reservations say for a given month on a particular moment in time. So in for the French Laundry, it's the first of the preceding month, and you have to kind of be there ready to race, and then click on the reservation that you want. And so that is a market that is familiar to us. We play in a lot of markets that look like that. And then, in the book, I go through a bunch of strategies that you have to kind of think about in a setting like that. So, like the first one, the most important one is to know that it's a race. Because if you don't realize that, if you don't see that that's the market structure, and you show up, on Thursday hoping to get a dinner for the following Saturday, right? You're out of luck. Like you've missed the boat entirely. And then once you're there and you're kind of on your high speed internet ready to go, the strategy becomes like, all right, what are you racing towards? Like what all of the reservations for a given month are going to pop up. Like what is it that you're going to go for? And the strategy that I think turns out to be relevant in a lot of hidden markets is you might want to do what I call settle for silver as opposed to go for gold. Okay, so the idea is sometimes in hidden markets, you have to pretend that something that is your second or third choice is actually your first choice. You have to act as if that's what you really want. Okay, so this is settling for silver, like going after your second choice option. Um, and the reason that that is a useful strategy is that when you're competing with a lot of other people for a scarce resource, right, there's a lot of competition for the best possible option. So there's a lot of competition for, say, a 7 p.m. reservation on a Saturday night. If you go for a 5 p.m. reservation, might not be your first choice, you're going to be more likely to get it. So that's like there's a set of markets that have that structure, first come, first serve races, and you have to kind of know that they're happening and think about strategy. Then there's a bunch of markets that are also first come, first serve, but have a different structure, like waiting list or a line. Okay, so like again, these are all markets that you're familiar with because you play in them every day. You play in some version of these. So the market structures are not, or many of them are familiar. Um, but the first come, first serve waiting lists and lines have slightly different strategies. So the waiting list, obviously, you want to get on it as early as possible. It has a lot of similarities to races. Um, and the strategy becomes, okay, when you get to the top of the waiting list, sometimes you have to make a strategic decision about whether you take what you're offered or if you kind of wait and see if something else better comes along. And the logic there depends on like what are the rules if you turn the thing down? Do you go to the back of the list again, or can you kind of stay at the top of the list and continue to get offered things as they become available? And you have to kind of understand the rules of your market to know what's right there. And then in first come first serve lines, so I tell a story about kind of waiting to get into the Vatican in the Vatican Museum in Vatican City. This was like my first ever trip abroad. This was where my family went to go see the Sistine Chapel and the frescoes on the ceiling. Right, and the strategy there is kind of thinking about, all right, you're going to have to wait in line. You want to go when the line is short, but aren't entirely sure when the line will be shortest because it depends on when other people are showing up. And so you can try to do a little bit of gaming on that front. But another thing you should be thinking about is what economists call opportunity cost. So what is it that you are giving up to be in that line, or and we think about it for any decision that you make, but certainly um, for something like that, the cost is whatever you're going to miss out on while you're waiting. And so there's different advice about when should you go wait in line. And one of the things for anyone to keep in mind is like you should be waiting in line when the cost for you to do so is as small as possible. So if you go early in the morning, the line might be a little longer because tourists are encouraged to come early in the morning. Um, but maybe early in the morning, you're not missing out on anything else. All the other attractions in Rome are closed. So maybe it's good to get there, wait a little bit longer, but wait a little bit longer when you're not missing out on anything. So that's like a set of a few of them that have a flavor of different strategies. In the book I talk about, and this is like my framework if I was advising people, like how do you succeed in these markets, right? Because the book is a mix of I want to teach folks about the world, I want them to understand, I want to give them a glimpse of the kind of research that drives this, but I also want people to feel empowered and succeed in these markets. Right, that was what motivated me to write the book with my elementary school auditorium experience, seeing the stressed out parents. And so, kind of the three steps are recognize that it's a hidden market. Recognize that this is a case where there very well may be more people who want this thing than there are going to be things available, and so that you're going to have to. It's not going to be as easy as like walking in and just saying, "I'd like to buy that at that price." So that's step one. Step two is figure out the market rules. So I've just kind of given a glimpse of like, what forms might the rules take? So is it first come, first serve? There's lottery allocations where, it's going to be, you're going to enter to have a shot at it, and maybe you'll get it. There's preference ranking mechanisms where you kind of rank what it is you want, like in the New York City elementary school system, and a centralized clearinghouse matches you with objects. There are two-sided markets where both sides have to agree for a match to happen, like dating markets or labor markets or college admissions markets. So you got to like understand, okay, what is the structure of this market? And that's like step two. So the market exists is step one. What is the structure of the market? Step two. And then step three is figuring out what the right strategy is for that market. And to your point, one of the key things that is important in that third step is like recognizing what it is that you actually want from that market. So, do you want to see Ja Rule from, a particular row on a particular night? Do you want to eat at a restaurant at a particular time, or are you flexible about when you go? Because the important thing is to go there. Do what else is going on in Rome that you want to do that, you have to slot around when you see the Sistine Chapel? Like once you start to see, do you even want to see the Sistine Chapel? Because it's gonna kill a couple hours of your day. And it's great, but maybe you come, to Rome another time and do that. So understanding what it is that you actually want is like a key central piece of this. And it's tough to do because a lot of times we gravitate towards things that we think we want because we see other people doing them, wanting them, going for them. And that is tough, particularly tough in hidden markets, because when a lot of other people are going for something, those are the things that are really hard to get. And so, it is incumbent on us as market participants to say, wait a second, let me think about what I actually want, because I'm going to do much better in this market if I identify that and go for it. And if I identify that I'm flexible about what I want, then even better for me, because now I can go after something that there's less competition for. And so that's the key kind of third step, is figuring out your strategy. And part of that is figuring out, what do you actually want?